Welcome to my guide on Bâr Nírnaeth, the Houses of Lamentation Tier 3. In this video I'll go through the full instance with all mechanics and everything to help you guys complete it. I'm pretty sure that I got most of the mechanics down for everything, but it is possible that I'm missing some stuff. And obviously it's a Tier 3 instance, so you need to be geared accordingly. But hopefully this guide will help you on dealing with all the mechanics in this instance. When you spawn into the instance, the first mobs you encounter are the Bountiful Spirits. They're pretty straightforward. There's two mechanics you need to look out for. When they do an induction, that's called Ancient Terror. If it goes off, it fears people. The second mechanic with these are that they put a fear puddle on a timer that will drop once the timer runs out. See from this clip, they're doing Ancient Terror. This one we didn't interrupt, which feared me. And you can also see the top left, the fear puddle put on me. You can see that there's been puddles dropped in the back up here. And the fear puddle with the timer went off, and I dropped a puddle right under me. And if you have this symbol, this right here, it means you're in the puddle. Now the second type of ad you'll encounter are the Nilusir, these statue-looking ghosts. And their mechanics are pretty straightforward. They do frontal damage, so always turn them away from the group. They also put a timed puddle on someone, and when you kill them, they drop a poison puddle. And the last mechanic is that they also do the Ancient Terror Induction, which is a fear, which you need to interrupt. You can try to look at some of the mechanics here. You can see this Nilusir here turns around, looks at someone, like it's putting a spell on someone, and it puts the fear puddle on the warden. You can see the purple aura on the warden, so the warden will have to move out of the group and drop the puddle somewhere, like he's doing right here. And you can also see the Ancient Terror Induction. And when they die, they will drop puddles, which I will show right now. Killing this first Nilusir, you can see the poison puddle you just move out of. So once you get to these stairs, you just go up the left stairs or the right, depending on which side you picked. And you just head upstairs, and right here, at the entrance here, there's a statue on the right, a statue on the left. These are Nilusar. They become active once you get near them. So pretty much you can just activate one of them and just kill it, like this one. After you kill your Nilusir, you can see the boss 1 arena right up ahead. The mobs around here you don't really have to worry about. The only thing, if you want to be safe, there's 4 mobs patrolling around the arena. You can see these tormentors. If you want to be safe, you kill the tormentors. The mechanics of these are also pretty straightforward. There's frontal damage. They put a bleed on the person who has aggro or in a frontal arc. And at some point they will put up a corruption, which is tactical damage reflect. So just be ready to remove that. Other than that, pretty straightforward mob to kill. So once you clear those 4 ads, your path is free to move up to the arena for boss 1. Looking at this arena, you can see that it's a platform. It's like a circle or a square that you fight on. Once the fight starts, there will be smoke walls around the arena, so you should have everyone stand on this little square platform here before you start. Do all your buffs and stuff before you go in. This way, no one will be locked out of the arena when the fight starts. So before I go into detail about this fight, I just want to point out a few things from this view that we have right now. All those ads you see in the middle will be killed by the ghosts, so they're not going to be part of the fight. The fight is pretty much 4 stages. You have phase 1, which is the ghost right here that you fight. When you face the ghost, it goes to the left to this statue. And this statue becomes active and is the boss for a little bit until you kill it. Then it turns back into the ghost. You kill the ghost. And finally, it turns into the giant. You kill the giant and the fight is over. When it comes down to other mechanics in this fight, whenever the ghost is active, there's no frontal. The distributed hit that he does doesn't do a lot of damage. The only thing I would worry about is getting the interrupt for the fear and removing corruption because it gets more damage. So pretty much the ghost is the easy part of the fight whenever the ghost is active. After you kill the ghost the first time, you will go to the left, like I said, transform into this guy, big statue. Now this guy does frontal damage, so tanks be wary, turn him away from the group. Just like the ghost, he has corruptions, he has interrupt for the fear. He also does a super long induction, which can't be interrupted. It's a big frontal, so I would advise even the tank to move behind the boss when he does the frontal, let him hit the slash, and then move back in front. Then the third phase is the ghost again, pretty easy. Make sure you interrupt and remove corruptions. And finally, you get the big giant, becomes active. This giant has massive frontal, so tank always turn the giant away from the group. Never let him turn to the group. Just like the other bosses, you want to interrupt and remove corruptions. This boss also does like a long induction where he slams the ground. Everyone takes damage. But if you're geared enough, your heals are on point, then it shouldn't be hitting too hard. You should be able to survive it. Now with all this in mind, there's one major mechanic I haven't mentioned yet, which is probably the most important one. From time to time, and this is for every boss, all of them do this, the boss will put out puddles on 4 people in the group. So 4 people will have a puddle. Just like on the trash pulls, it's a timed puddle which you can run and drop somewhere. There are many ways to do this, but the way that we found worked really well. The 4 people, whenever the puddles get put out, run together to somewhere. We usually like to start in this corner over here. Stack up, look at your puddle. The second it disappears, you move back into the middle. All 4 puddles will be dropped here. Keep fighting. When puddles come back up, you move right next to the previous puddle, stack up, drop the puddle disappears from your bar, you move back into the middle, and you just keep dropping puddles counterclockwise all the time. So a good tip for the tank, when you're tanking the armored ghost or the giant, always try to turn the boss away from where people are dropping puddles. If the group is dropping puddles on the left side here, you want to be on the right side, facing the boss away from this side. This makes everything easy, and just keep rotating with wherever people are dropping puddles. These puddles will always stay on the 4 same people. I've seen it switch from one person sometimes. And if someone with a puddle dies, it'll go to another person who didn't have it before. If someone who had a puddle dies, be ready to look out, because someone else will get the puddle. This strategy is a lot easier if the tank does not have the puddle. So if the puddle goes on the tank in the beginning, a good idea is to just let the tank die. If you have an RK, just put a DNF on the tank. If not, you can just use your mini res or any res you have. Because if the tank doesn't have a puddle, he can just position himself, don't worry about moving or running around. So normally if the tank gets the puddle, what we do, we have everybody go to drop the puddle in the beginning, and the tank just stays in the puddles and dies. And then he will drop the puddle and someone else will get it, and it should be pretty straightforward from there. I'll take a look at some parts of the fight. As you can see, the ghost has a corruption which increases its damage. Just remove that. And like I also said, the ghost doesn't do much damage. There's no frontal, not really any danger. So right now we're waiting to see who gets the puddles. You can see the boss saying, "I see the shadows of doubt within you." That's the trigger message for the puddles. And as you can see, me as a tank, I got the puddle. 3 other people have the puddle. I think the timer is like 6 seconds, so you have 6 seconds to move and drop the puddle. We all stack right here on me. And if you have the puddle, the second you see this disappear, like right now, just run. The puddle is dropped, you can just run out. If you stay too long, you're going to take damage from the puddles. As you can see, the mini and the hunter does not have the puddle, but the other 4 do. And as I mentioned before, if the tank gets a puddle, it's a good idea to just let the tank stay here, die in the puddles. I have a DNF. This phase is straightforward, pretty easy. Ghost doesn't do much damage. You DPS the ghost down to, I think, 7 mil. Ghost phases go to the statue. Statue will become active and be the boss. Same thing here, puddles are going to keep spawning, corruption, interrupt. As you can see, ancient terror, this is fear, you need to interrupt. He does the shadow puddles, I see the shadows of doubt within you. And you can also see the shadow cleave, it's the huge frontal to move away from. So like I said, just keep dropping puddles, keep DPSing the boss until you kill this statue. And once you kill the statue, he will turn back into the ghost. See you right here. Same thing as the first phase with the ghost. It doesn't do much damage. This shadow crash, as you can see, it's everyone, but nothing major. Still keep dropping puddles in the same spot. DPS the ghost back to 7 mil. Gonna turn into the big giant. Remember, this guy has massive frontal. Always turn him around from the group. He also does a shadow crash, but it doesn't do too much. Shouldn't worry about it. And like with every boss, he keeps putting puddles on people, so just keep that in mind always. This is another mechanic he has. Stomp, hits everyone. Still, if he's debuffed and healing some point, then it shouldn't be a problem. He also puts up these minus incoming damage corruptions. Pretty easy, just remove them and keep fighting. Then you just kill the giant and the fight is over and you can get the loot. After you kill boss 1, you get to boss 2, you need to head to the left up these stairs, like we're doing here. First ad you encounter is a tormentor. We've seen them before. Just kill his tormentor. And one thing to keep in mind, there's an Elixir on the left after you kill a tormentor. You go near it, it'll activate. It's also possible to skip all the trash pulls by doing the Cappy runs ahead, you know, like in TG. You can use last stand, rest someone up there when they die. I would only recommend that if you feel confident that you're gonna one-shot the boss. And, you know, stuff can go wrong and it could take a lot of time if you mess up the running up. But overall, the trash pulls aren't too hard to kill, so killing them is pretty straightforward. So after you kill that first ad, you just keep heading up to the left. This is the first trash pull that you encounter. This warrior patrols, you can pull him down by himself. Now the Flayed Warrior has an aura that reduces damage taken around him. I think it's 50%. He's going to reduce damage taken for every ally near him. This guy you can pull by himself, he's not linked to anything. And another mechanic, all the warriors has frontal, and they will put up a corruption that reduces incoming damage by 80% on the warrior. Just remove it, pretty simple. So when doing this, I would advise just pulling that warrior down, kill him by himself down here. And then once the warrior is dead, you can run up and pull these adds. Now in this pull, we have Flayed Fanatics, we have Flayed Servants, and we have Shadowsworn Acolytes. The Servants only have like 1 million HP. They do like a random Shadow Breath at random people, which causes minus incoming healing. So my suggestion would always be kill the Servants like right away. They should die pretty quickly because they're low on morale. The Fanatics have random aggro, but I wouldn't worry too much about the Fanatics. Just keep taunting them and keep killing. These Acolytes, I'm not exactly 100% sure what they do. They might do an induction where you summon a ghost, like the ghost, the first ad we saw in the instance. I'm pretty sure that's what they do, so just interrupt them. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward, these ads. I would always kill the servant first, then you can pick and choose what you kill next. After you clear those ads, you just keep heading upstairs. You reach the next wave, there's another patrolling warrior who's not linked. So I would just kill him, and there's a second patrolling warrior I would also kill by themselves. Once you kill him, you can do this pull with the warrior. Like I said before, I would just kill the servant first, then warrior, and then fanatics last. Even though the warrior puts the aura on the servant, it has such low morale that it should die pretty quickly. And also I'm pretty sure that while a servant is alive, the warrior will absorb damage. Next wave is a group pull. 1 warrior, 2 servants. Once again, I would kill the servants first, low HP. Kill both servants, then warrior, and then fanatics. Pretty straightforward. Now the last pull has 2 warriors and 1 servant. Like before, I'll just kill servant, warrior, warrior, then fanatics last. These trash pulls are pretty straightforward. And then you reach boss 2. Boss 2 is Narkor the Flensed. That's the boss you see here, standing on this by this altar. This boss has 50 million HP. There are 4 ads on each side, kind of like bug lurker looking ads. When you reach 75%, you will spawn 2 ads. When you reach 50%, you'll spawn 3 more ads, and at 25%, another 3 ads. So the easiest strategy that I found is just to single target nuke the boss, which means you'll have 8 ads that you need to tank, take a bit more damage, but it really seems to be the faster and easier way. Because the thing about these ads, they have around 7 million HP. If you DPS them down a bit, they'll turn into like stationary ads. They will heal the boss, and they will also give him damage buff if he's near them. So not touching them at all and just nuking the boss is both faster and probably safer. Because their heal is so strong that it means you would have to take the boss down to 75%, kill the ads. He heals up to 100, you have to take him down to 50. You kill the ads, he heals to full again, and then down to 25. You would again heal up to 100%. That's why single target nuke seems to be the best way to go. So if you have an AoE class like Warden or Burglar, you need to be careful using your AoE skills after 75% when ads are up. You don't want to DPS them at all. Now on to other mechanics. This gate here will open once the fight starts. You can actually fall down into this and die. The adds that spawn will sometimes do random attacks, and they do like a slight punt. So if you're standing right next to the big hole and you get punted, you can get punted into the hole. So try to be careful with that. The boss itself does frontal damage, so tank will always want to turn him away from the group. Puts a big bleed on the tank, which you just need to heal through. Once that bleed reaches tier 4, it gets potable, so just pot it straight away when it gets potable. The boss will also at some points do an induction attack. It's called Unhouse. If he hits you with it, you get a debuff which is minus 10% morale. You can avoid this by just moving through the boss, standing behind. Let him do the Unhouse frontal, then move back in front of the boss again. Now for the group itself, you have the adds to deal with, but the other mechanic is that 2 people, when the boss does a call out for something about a bleed, 2 people will have a bleed on them. And just like boss 1, it'll stay on that person unless they die. And this bleed ticks for 8 seconds, does damage to the target who has the bleed, but it also does damage to the people who are close. I believe it's like an 8-meter radius. So to avoid this, a good idea is trying to spread out as much as you can. Now there's probably a lot of ways to position yourself in this fight, but the way that we're doing it seemed to work pretty well. The tank will tank the boss right where the boss is standing right now. We usually have the healer at the bottom right here. Melee DPS will be behind the boss, of course. Lore Master we always have on the left side. And then any ranged DPS we have in the back right here. And they don't stand together. So usually we would have healer over here, 1 ranged DPS here, and 1 all the way here in the back. And once you figure out who has the bleeds, let's say the LM and maybe the mini gets the bleed, then the ranged DPS wouldn't have to worry about positioning, they could just stand together here. But of course, if one of the ranged DPS get the bleed, you could not stick close together. Let's say the hunter got the bleed, he would probably stay a bit in the back, and then the RK could move a bit closer to the mini. If the warden got the bleed, maybe he could move back from the tank a bit as the bleed is ticking, so he doesn't hurt the tank more than necessary. It's all about finding out who has the bleeds and then just positioning accordingly. But other than that, it's all about just nuking the boss, killing him as fast as possible. But enough talk, let's take a look at the fight. The tank will run in, turn the boss around. As you can see, the positioning, like I said, we have the melee DPS here, healer on the bottom right, ranged DPS are in the back, down here, and LM will be to the left. Beginning of the fight is pretty straightforward. The boss says your flesh limits you. That's when he puts the bleed on the tank. Also does a big hit on you. You simply have to heal through this. And I'm not sure if the bleed is triggered by 85% or by a timer. Possibly 25 seconds. But once the boss says bleed, you miserable wretches, that's the call out for the 2 people who gets the bleed. That will bleed for 8 seconds. And you can see it looks like the warden has the bleed. Right here. See the pulsating red. And I think RK also has the bleed. So RK and Hunter would just spread out a bit, not be near each other. And when the warden bleeds, you just move away from everyone. And just keep doing that. 75%, you get the 2 first adds. Tank will just have to tank them. The boss will keep doing the bleed, putting it up now and then. This long induction that he's doing is Unhouse. I believe you can dodge it by just moving through the boss, let him finish his attack, and then move back in front again. As you can see, I didn't move this time, and I get the minus 10% morale debuff. So if possible, try to move through the boss when he does the unhouse. You get more ads at 50%, 3 more ads. You can also see here that my bleed now becomes potable, reaches tier 4, so you can pot this, get rid of the bleed. And at 25%, get the final 3 ads. Tank will pick them up, just keep nuking the boss. Hopefully you can live all the way to the end. The boss dies, fight is over, you can get the loot. After you kill the second boss, you keep heading down this way. Before you get to the outside, there are 2 trash poles with Moraval and a bat. These guys put a lot of bleeds unpotable on the person with aggro. And there are also some puddles being dropped when you kill some of these. Just keep in mind it's massive damage here. If you have a Cappy in your group and an RK that can put DNF, you can skip these 2 pulls by having the Cappy run through these, through the next pull, then all the way down to the bottom, and just having the group run to the door and exit. Then the Cappy will die after the last stand and take the DNF, and you'll be outside. Like you can see, I tried to send the Warden in with Shields Dunedain on. You can see how much damage he takes even through the SOD. And I also died in this pull. It's a lot of damage happening. Need to kill the mobs quickly. But like I said, if you run past here, up here, then down the stairs up here, and the door is right here, and the group can go through them. Once you exit the door, you get to the outside of the fortress. You head to the left, the broken bridge up ahead. This will start a cutscene. If you want to watch it for the first time, you can stay and watch it. But to continue the instance, you go back a bit and down the path on the side. And here you encounter some new fresh mobs. Mainly the Dark Tendrils and the Gaunt Man. Now the Gaunt Man has an aura that puts reflect on any mob around him. As you can see, these guys has his aura. Like, while the Gaunt Man is alive, I would not advise doing heavy AoE. So the basic strat here would be nuke the Gaunt Man single target and kill the rest of the ads. The Gaunt Man has 1 extra mechanic. He will do an induction which can't be interrupted. Someone will have a purple eye for that induction. And that's pretty much a fear bomb. If you stand near anyone while the induction finishes, you will fear everyone around you and yourself. So the person who gets the purple eye, simply move out of the group, take the fear, and then run back, keep fighting. Some more ads up ahead, some more Gaunt Man, some Tendrils. That's pretty much it for the ads. For this big wave here, it's actually possible to jump up the left and skip them. But if you want to take on the ads, I would suggest killing the servants because of low HP, then the Gaunt Man because of the reflect, then Warrior, then Fanatics and Tendrils. Just keep heading down the path, keep clearing ads, and eventually you'll reach the Tree of Morlock. On the screen right now, you see the first part of the last boss. This is the arena that you fight on. The tree right now is just bugged. It's gonna be normal soon. But Agatha is the last boss. She will leave this fight, leave us to face the tree, and then later you'll go down behind and fight her. This part 1 of the fight. You start off pretty simple, just killing these first ads. Second, these ads die. The first root that the tree will spawn spawns on the left side of the tree. It's important that you're within melee range of these roots as soon as they spawn, or they will use their ranged attack and probably one-shot everyone in the group. So as you can see, we fight the first ad wave. A good tip is just to stand here on the left side. So you'll already be in the location where the root spawns. There you can see the root spawned. Tank just turns the root away from the group, DPS and kill the root. Now the rest of this fight is controlled by corruptions. This big tree has 100 corruptions. And depending on when you remove them, there's different stuff happening. I've written down what happens for different phases. So as you just saw, we killed the first ads, we killed the first root. Spawns to the left of the tree. The tree has 100 corruptions. As you keep removing them, when you get to 79, the first ad wave will spawn. You just kill those ads, then you go back to the tree, take it down to 59. Get another ad wave. This time you get a root. And then 39, same thing, ad wave and root. 19, ad wave and root. Looking at the arena right here, first root always spawns on the left of the tree. And it appears that the other trees are random, but the spawning locations are to the left of the tree, to the right of the tree, to the right of the entrance, or left of the entrance. On this clip right here, we just killed the 79 corruption wave. And then I would take it down to 60, prepare for the 59 ad wave and root. And a good tip, just stack your group in this corner here. If you get the root on the right side of the tree, you'll be in melee range and it won't one-shot people. You will just kill the root and kill the ads. If the root happens to spawn close to the entrance, over the left or the right, it'll not be in combat with you. So you just stay here, kill the ads. Once the ads are dead, you move as a group to the root and kill it. So in this run, the second root spawned next to the entrance. We just stayed in our corner, kill the ads, then we just run together to the root and kill it. And once you kill this root, you take the tree down to 39, same thing, stack in the corner, kill ads, then go to the root. Or if the root spawns near you, you just kill it. And for the final ad wave at 19 corruptions, it's instead of killing the root and killing the ads, you simply just spam corruptions on the tree. When you get to 0, tree and the ads will disappear, and the phase will finish. Took it down to 20 corruptions. When we are ready, we spawn the ads, we got the root, but we just focus the tree on corruptions. Took it down to 0, and it's finished. That's probably the best way to finish the tree part. Always stack in that left corner or right corner over here when you're facing an ad wave with a root. And on the final ad wave, you just spam corruptions on the tree. So once you finish this part, you can head down to the final part and the final boss. Simply go back a bit, down to the left. Follow the path. Get to the last boss, which is Agat Kali. And now for this boss, you have Agat Kali, which is the main boss. You have 3 roots that continuously heals the boss. So you have to kill the roots and then go to the boss. And if you take the boss out of the water, the boss will get damage buff. So you tank the boss in the water, the blood pool. So while the roots are alive, mechanics for the boss is this boss has frontal. The other main mechanic while the roots are alive is the summoning of the ghosts. We will do a big induction. Right there, she says drink Morloth, she puts a bubble on the root. If you don't DPS through the bubble, the roots will heal. But the other big mechanic is an induction. We will see soon. Right here. The boss says you should serve as so many have before. The induction starts going. When this induction finishes, every member in the group will spawn a ghost under them. So what you do, as soon as the ghosts spawn, you just move. As you will see right now, we will spawn the ghosts and move to the side. And these ghosts do damage to anyone around them. So you just move away, don't stay near the ghosts. So as you can see here, as soon as it's finished, we all move to the side. We don't stand near these and we just keep fighting. If you have melee DPS, as soon as the induction starts, just move away from the root to drop the ghost. So you can go back and DPS the root. So while the roots are alive, this is pretty much the fight. It's all about just killing one by one root and avoiding the ghost mechanic. You just keep doing this, keep DPSing the roots, be ready for the ghosts, find a good way to move, good places to move. You can see she does it again, we're all ready to move. Move to the side. Rinse and repeat until all the roots are dead. So as you can see in this clip, the last root is about to die, which means we'll only have the boss. So after you kill the roots, there will be two new mechanics in play. One of them is that the boss puts a purple eye on the tank. Whenever the purple eye goes out, there's an induction. And the group has to spread out. If you're close to anyone while the induction goes off with the purple eye, you and whoever you're close to will get feared. Second mechanic is that just like in boss 2, two people will get the bleed, which will damage people around you. So the people who are bleeding should not be close to anyone. We'll take a look. Right here we just have the normal ghost mechanic. Now the roots are dying. The boss says, what have they done? He instantly starts the new mechanic for when the roots are dead, which is your mind shall break. And she does an induction. Tank has a purple eye. You spread out. You won't get feared. Still have the ghost mechanic. You need to just moving left and right is pretty easy. Then boss will do the purple eye. You spread out. No one gets feared. Then you can stack up together again. Be ready to move again for the ghosts. And here comes the last mechanic. Boss says, offer your blood. Pretty soon. There you go. Two people has to bleed. And I think the Guardian and the Warden had it for us right here. So you can see they're taking a lot of damage. So while they're bleeding, they should spread out, just like boss 2. But pretty much, it's 3 things to watch out for. This spread out when she does the purple eye on the tank. Move when the ghosts are spawned. And if you have the bleed, when she says offer your blood, don't stand near anyone. If you can manage all those mechanics, just keep DPSing the boss, kill the boss, the fight is over, you can get the loot. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully this guide will help people completing this instance. I think this instance is really fun. It's a lot of fun, a lot of mechanics. All the fights are unique. Requires coordination. The job well done. So hopefully this video helps. Leave a like, subscribe, join my Discord. and I'll see you in the next one.